Hi there. What's up, Skytown? Welcome to the CHGO Sky Podcast. I'm Katy Duffy, here to host with you for the next half hour, and I am joined, as always, by WNBA. Steven, what's up?
I'm doing all right. How you doing today?
Doing good. Busy week for both of us on our respective NBA beats with the trade deadline, so I'm glad to be here in a more chill environment and talking about some WNBA news.
Yeah, definitely. It's been busy on both fronts over this way. Needless to say, but we had to talk about the Sky. They've been very busy the last week and a half, 2-ish weeks now. I'm looking forward to talking about all of it.
Yeah, we have tons to dive into. I think first, let's give a little shout out to Angel Reese. Some big news for her in the past couple weeks here. She is already everywhere, but most recently has signed an endorsement deal with McDonald's. She has her own little meal over there, which is super cool. Joey, if you could throw up that photo of Angel Reese and her deal with McDonald's there. Like I said, she's literally everywhere. She's going to be helping out with the Met Gala. And then she was just on Vogue too, literally everywhere. Steven, are you excited to pick this up?
I don't know if I'll personally be partaking just because I'm not the biggest fan of McDonald's, but for Angel, it is just another box being checked off in her laundry list of accolades and all of her endorsements in the compilation. She's truly one of one, and this is just yet another one where she's going to stand out and really helps to kind of differentiate herself from almost any athlete in any sport to have compiled so many of these so early in one's career.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really cool to see her just continue to grow. Obviously, she has her own podcast too. She's gotten some big name guests there, so she's literally everywhere. But let's dive right into the news that broke today. The Sky trading Dana Evans in exchange for 2 second-round draft picks. Andy Constable broke this news. There you see it there. She is going on over to the Aces. And just an interesting move for the Sky here. Steven, I'm curious to get your thoughts first.
Yeah, I'll start with Jeff Pagliocca, obviously continuing to put this team in the best possible position that he can. I know the discourse is the discourse, but when we're speaking from a non-biased perspective on things and not what you want to see, but what the team is actually able to make happen with the context provided from a lack of practice facilities to that playing hugely into the actual free agents you're able to attract, to obviously players natively deciding to go elsewhere, whether it be via demanding of a trade or naturally in free agency. You compile all of those things and you think from his perspective on what can actually be done to have gotten the two pieces that they're building their team around right now. They're spearheading the evolution of Sky basketball and found ways on the margins to bring in some pieces that can help make sense, especially in this 2025 free agency period. I mean, what more can you ask for? And obviously trading Dana Evans, but being able to get picks back, especially 2 second-round picks from a team that's likely going to be really good for a handful of years more. Like, this is just another A+ move in my honest opinion, and it feels like he's setting them up for as much success as can be on the asset side of things past just the players on the roster.
Absolutely. I'm with you there. Faz in the comments just said Jeff is cooking. He really is. Like, what he's been able to do in this offseason has been so impressive. And I think if you put any stock into the rumors about Dana really not being happy with her playing time last season, this makes complete sense. You're bringing in Courtney Vandersloot, so you're probably not going to see a ton of Dana minutes going forward. So I think this works not only for her being able to play a little bit more elsewhere, but also it works for the Sky being able to get something back And it is impressive to get something back when you know that a player is not super happy where they are and you're still able to get assets out of that other team. I think that's super impressive by Jeff.
Absolutely. And just quickly on the Dana side, do not be surprised if Dana is firmly entrenched in the sixth player of the year race next season. There is no one that defends from the point of attack the way that she does. No one defends in a sustained manner for 94 feet the way that she does either. And on top of that, her style of play offensively is going to be very complementary to the spacing templates that Las Vegas has been known to operate within. They have two posts right now on contract that can space it either to the mid-range or to the three-point line. That's just something that the Sky don't have. When you have a guard that everything that they do is set up by going downhill first, that kind of plays kind of in the same spaces, it doesn't work as effectively. So she's going to have a lot more driving lanes to choose from, and I think her impact is going to be felt in a loud way with the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Dana there. Not only because I think she really is ready to go to a winning or a team that is ready to win now and just enjoy those much upgraded facilities and things like that. And also Dana's super fun. The Aces are full of personality. I'm really
another
excited
personality. Yep.
Yeah, they do their own reality show ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned earlier Courtney Vandersloot coming over to the Sky. I think we got to spend as much time as possible there because this is a move that I certainly was not expecting. I know there were a few rumors ahead of time about, maybe they needed to move the number 3 pick in order to kind of convince her that they're ready to win now to bring her back. In the end, that wasn't necessary. Crazy move that I think at least I was not expecting going into this offseason. Steven, what is your takeaway from seeing Courtney Vandersloot, former Sky champion, come back to the team?
I think it's a feel-good story in many ways, but I also think it's very much a business move that's conducive for both sides. I think that Courtney needed a fresh start from the New York Liberty tenure that she had where she won another championship. And I also think that the Sky needed a point guard. So what better connection than to kind of go back down memory lane and I'm not writing her off because I think she can hoop for as long as she wants to. But if this is coming towards the end, what better place for her WNBA chapter of her life to end than where it started and where she sustained so much of her all-time great point guard success at. And I think she's going to be in a position for her leadership to hit the way that it will most effectively. I think that she's going to be with a team that allows for her to play the style of basketball that she wants to. And I think for those reasons and the lack thereof that was last season with her with New York, I think we'll see a much closer to the Sloot that left the Sky than what we saw last season with the New York Liberty.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on that. I think that there were some reports that the Liberty weren't planning on starting her, which I think is a huge reason that she wanted to come back to the Sky, where we desperately needed a starting point guard. That makes a lot of sense for her, and I do think it makes a lot of sense for the team. You need somebody not only that has won championships and can kind of mentor your young players, but also somebody that works really well in the offense. I am absolutely stoked to see her with Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso, and I'm curious to hear how you think that fit is going to be on the floor.
It's going to be a lot of fun. To tell the full story, Angel being able to spend time playing in pick and roll with Chelsea Gray and Unrivaled, then to come back to Chicago and immediately start learning and building a rapport with Courtney Vandersloot. I think that's very important for her as she continues to evolve because I don't think that she was the best in terms of her pick and roll or her picks that she set last season on ball. They were more so space screens more than they were creating advantage type of screens. And she's going to have to do that with Courtney Vandersloot to free her getting downhill. I think that'll be something that grows and something that's going to be extremely detail oriented with this process. And I think it's something that's going to be mutually beneficial for both. There's not a pass that Courtney Vandersloot has seen that she can't make. And I think that her being able to make those passes to Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso, but also off of the advantages that they can create or to them in the post as well, is going to be a functionality skill that they just didn't have last season. And that's why a lot of the touches that they were able to get in the paint weren't as efficient or effective. So that's going to help. But I think the other big thing and something that kind of fell off for Sloot last season as her role kind of was in limbo. Is Sloot's 3-point shooting and her ability to space it. I think that's something that's going to be very important for this team in terms of their flow offensively as well.
Yeah, I think shooting is a desperate need for the Sky, and we can talk about some of the other players that the Sky brought in to help with that. But one of the things you said was that Courtney has never seen a pass that she couldn't make, and I think we haven't realized just how badly the Sky have needed an elite, talented passer. I am already thinking about the first time she threads the needle into the post to either Angel or Kamilla, and I think that is going to be an absolute match made in heaven for them, and hopefully she can get her shooting up, and that spreads the floor even more for them. I'm excited to see it. Courtney was just one of many moves that the Sky made. I think we can look at all of them. Joey, if you have that full screen of all the moves that the Sky have made so far, so you can see sign Courtney Vandersloot, 1-year contract. Kia Nurse, same thing. And then trading for Rebecca Allen, adding even more shooting there. Obviously, we mentioned trading Dana Evans and then re-signing Michaela Onyenwere. Really good moves all around for the Sky there. I think one of the themes that we see not only with the Sky, but we're going to see with other teams in WNBA Free Agency is these 1-year contracts, new CBA coming up. Steven, were you surprised to see this many 1 years, or is this something that you thought was coming?
No, it's definitely something that you can see coming. Players are looking to cash in. They're also not looking to put themselves in a long-term scenario where it's happening prematurely. And I think just transactionally is something that should be done. These players deserve it. And these teams are going to have to pay, and they'll be able to do so more comfortably after they have more kind of footing and understanding of what the CBA negotiation process and everything that entails is going to be going forward after this season. So this will be a lot of change, as we've already seen in this offseason, but next season, 2026 for free agency as that ramps up, expect for there to be even more volume of change and a lot less predictability within all of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with the new franchises that are being added like this, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how the league shakes out. And speaking of those, 1-year contracts, the new money coming in, Kia Nurse was one of the people that mentioned it after signing with the Sky. I think her exact quote was, "There's going to be a lot more money coming in." So I think you're going to start to see a lot more of those like very lucrative deals, maybe not quite like NBA, MLB level, but hopefully just kind of getting up to par. And then also one of the things that is really impacting the change that we're seeing in the league through free agency, through trades, I think is unrivaled as well, which we've talked about in the past. And I think we can talk about more in the future, kind of reviewing Angel's time there. But let's hop into, the next move that the Sky made, that was trading for Rebecca Allen. Again, big move here. Steven, I'm going to let you take this one because I think that you have a lot more insight into this.
Yeah, Beck Allen is just a fun glue type of piece on the margins for a team. I think she gives the Chicago Sky another piece with length that they just didn't have last season on the wing, past Michaela Onyenwere. And no pun intended with wing, but Rebecca Allen's wingspan is something that truly hits for a team defensively, especially in grabbing rebounds, getting deflections, all type of things like that. And I think that her also being able to space the floor the ways in which she's shown to be able to, and also be able to run secondary pick and roll, be one of the best cutters and elite cutters. Just the general IQ of having her on the court with a Courtney Vandersloot, a player that has just all types of experience internationally as well as stateside. There's just depths of invaluability that comes with that. And I think she's going to also help to expedite the learning curve and real impact for Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned kind of her shooting, and that's obviously been a huge problem for the Sky. They were dead last in 3-pointers attempted and made last season. So Rebecca Allen is going to be huge there. I'm really excited to see that. Obviously, you mentioned that you need shooters around that core of Angel, Kamilla, Courtney. You need some kind of threat on the outside so that not all of the defenders are collapsing. And I think that's going to be a really good fit for them there. I also want to mention she is reportedly injury-free. She did have 2 injuries last season, one of which was back surgery in September. But all reports show that she's injury-free and ready to play with the Sky here. Steven, aside from her shooting and kind of spacing the floor, what do you think that she brings to the team in the locker room?
She's a high IQ glue piece, and I mean that's at face value, but she's truly a player that connects things. She's a player that's older, but she's also a player that very much understands the way that the game is being played now. She's a great personality, and she also just understands the job, the task at hand, what the team's goals will be, and how to help get them there as efficiently as they can when she's available. And I say the when she's available part because of the unfortunate injury history piece with it. They need her to be as healthy as can be in this season for them to reach their ceiling and for her to get the most out of her role with the team as well. So if any red flag is existing with Beck, it's going to be that. But I think that them being able to not lean on her in ways that teams in the past have because they have Michaela Onyenwere, that should help to mitigate some of the minute totals and hopefully help to mitigate the risk in terms of injury that's come up in years past.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. We have more moves to get to here, but first let's take a quick break and shout out some of our sponsors. First off, light beer just got a lot better. Introducing Sam Adams American Light. It's clean, it's crisp, and it's super easy to drink. They drop some off at our CHGO offices, and everybody that has tried it has absolutely loved it. The Bulls guys went through nearly an entire case yesterday for deadline day, so that should tell you just how good it is. But it's not just your average light beer. It's brewed with 100% American-sourced ingredients from local independent farmers. Grab some Sam Adams American Light, available now at select Chicago retailers. Please drink responsibly, and you must be 21 to enjoy.
And then we also will be speaking about Mando today. Fellas, one of the most important things that you could possibly do for yourself is take care of your personal hygiene. And one of the best ways to do so is with Mando. Valentine's Day coming up, you don't want to go on your date with your loved one or someone that you hope to love in due time by not taking care of yourself on the personal side of things. So tap in with Mando. They're obviously a full body deodorant for men, and they help to, just like I said, make you smell good. And I don't think there's a better way to go about attracting someone that you might like or just genuinely operating in spaces than smelling good. And with that in mind, just kind of looking at the things that Mando provides. Like I said, a whole body deodorant, you can put it on those cracks and crevices that are hard to reach sometimes, maybe the places that you might not always think about going to. That's where Mando helps to bridge that gap for you. And they're clinically proven to help better yourself with odor, and it's equally as good as a shower in many different situations. And looking at that, a lot of them last for 12 hours for you, where the average is usually about 5 out of 10 in regards to soaps and things like that. So tap in with Mando. They're going to help you get the job done and help you get to where you want to be and help you do so in a fresh manner.
Yeah, and Valentine's Day is coming up, so that might be a really good thing to do for yourself ahead of that Valentine's Day.
Listen, if Katy's saying it as a woman, man, take
yeah, no, that should tell you it works. All right, let's hop back into Sky Free Agency here. One thing I do want to mention, as we just talked about Courtney Vandersloot and also about shooting pieces for the Sky, several people have asked me, is Allie Quigley coming back to join Courtney? I am not, a reporter that has sources, but no, like that, I don't think we're going to see that. She Irish goodbye on the WNBA. She's made no comments that would say she's coming back, as awesome as that would be. So just something to keep in mind here. But one person that we will see on the Sky is Kia Nurse. We mentioned her a little bit. Again, another 1-year deal. Steven, what do you like about this, or what do you not like about this?
There's nothing to not like about Kia Nurse. Kia Nurse is a dog, and I mean that in the most endearing way. She's never been scared of a scrap, never seen an opponent that she doesn't feel like she can guard and do so effectively. And I think her being able to slide into that shooting guard position for the Sky is extremely important because it's not just her shooting, but her being able to insulate Courtney Vandersloot on the defensive end of the floor where some of the inefficiencies for Sloot kind of take to the forefront. Kia being able to switch, Kia being able to take on some of the bigger matchups on the wing, even if she is defended with Michaela Onyenwere or Rebecca Allen, is going to be an asset, a major plus. And the other big thing with Kia is the IQ. That's something I mentioned naturally with Courtney Vandersloot, especially with Rebecca Allen, and even more so with Kia Nurse. They have a collective IQ about them and an experience in tandem with that that's going to help the Sky to navigate some of the situations that we saw come up that were adverse to their winning desires last season. And I think that in terms of intangibles is equally as important as all of the skills and things we could talk about with these three players in particular that they bring to the court.
Yeah, I think high IQ has been the buzzword for us here today. And I think that's something that you can see the Sky have really focused on in free agency here is those high IQ players. Not that they had low IQ players, prior, but that's
Right.
something that they clearly think is really important to surround
Mhm.
their young core with.
Mhm.
One thing that I found really interesting was Kia Nurse explaining why she came to the Sky, and she pinned most of it on Tyler Marsh. I want to read this quote. She said, Tyler Marsh specifically has coached a lot of these Vegas Aces players. And so being able to go to them and say, what's he like? All good things were said. I think that's huge. Obviously, Aces players have spoke highly of Tyler Marsh in the past, but that was more so to the media. So to hear that they really do feel strongly about him and they're willing to say that to other WNBA players is awesome. I think this is, clearly a case of somebody coming to Chicago because they know that there's a coach here that's going to help them grow.
Yeah, and those are the kind of attractors that you need, especially if you don't have your own facilities to, like I said, just start the conversation with players that you might not always have the reach to bring in because of your context that you're working with right now. So Tyler is going to, I don't think this is the first time, or I don't think it's going to be the last time, rather, that Tyler is a piece that really helps to bring in someone that you might not necessarily expect a Sky to. And I think Kia is someone that's going to stick around for some time. I don't think it's going to be a one and done with her because of the CBA and the way her contract's set up right now. I think she's someone that they'll retain going into the 2026 season. And she's going to be fun. She's going to be everything that this team needs in terms of that shooting guard position. And I also think that she's going to not just start for this team, but play a hefty piece in terms of what they're desiring to do just because of the many different complementary skills that she's going to bring to the court offensively, but even more so how consistent she is on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all, things that you want to hear when you're signing a player. And I'm excited to see just how many minutes she gets. I think that's going to be a really interesting discussion going into the season as we see the roster continue to take shape and as Tyler Marsh puts together his starting lineup and his bench lineup and all of those things. I know one piece that you're really excited about is Michaela Onyenwere. She re-signed with the Sky, received a qualifying offer, and is back with the team this season. So what excites you about this?
First thing is consistency. Having players on the roster for past just one season that you can start to see the benefits of chemistry and the benefits of time spent and personalities and on the court and off the court. I think those things are highly valuable. A lot of times when you've seen the Sky having team things go on, whether it be Michaela with Angel going to a Megan Thee Stallion concert or anything that Angel might be doing, you've seen a lot of Michaela being involved, not necessarily attached to the hip, but in like a sisterly type of relationship. And you see those many different dynamics off the court also be beneficial for them on the court with the natural chemistry that takes place when you're communicating in the heat of fire. You can't slow play those things, and the only way to expedite them is by spending time off the court. It's clear that there's a natural relationship there with Michaela, and on multiple accounts, from Teresa Witherspoon to Dana Evans to Diamond DeShields last season, they all communicated to me without even asking directly about it that Michaela was the glue piece for their roster last season. She's in the huddles, firing them up with energy and infusing confidence into players that might be having a rough spell. She's uplifting the entire team with her play and how much of a wrecking ball that she is on the defensive end of the floor. And she's also a player that she's been Rookie of the Year. Is still improving. and one of the players that you truly can't put in a box in terms of role. And I think that Tyler Marsh is someone that's going to implore for her to play to the many different hats that she can wear over the course of a game. And I think she's going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of having players that can space, because now she'll have more driving lanes to attack, which is where she is at her best on offense, but she can also get to her 1 and 2 dribble pull-ups to her left hand, which I think Tyler will help to develop in terms of skill, but also implore for her to take more of within their team shot profile.
Yeah, I mean, Michaela for me is a bench piece, and I think you would agree there. And I think it's really interesting that you mentioned Dana Evans and Diamond Shields in there, because having that continuity, I just triggered every Bulls fan ever with the word continuity. But having that continuity is really important, especially because you are losing Diamond. She's been, on and off with the team for a while, but hopefully Michaela can kind of fill in that role alongside Angel and Kamilla, who were obviously here. You lose a little bit of that spark.
Yeah. Sorry, we lost you for a quick 3-4 seconds towards the end, and then it picked up at the end of your statement. But yes, Michaela is just, again, someone you can't put in a box. I'm curious, though, now that we've talked about all the players added, who would you start? What would be your projected starting lineup for the Sky going into the 2025 season? I'm very curious. I think naturally
it's
three.
really tough, because I think that we're going to see the roster continue to take shape. I don't know that they're done.
Mm-hmm.
You guys froze on me again. I think I might be losing you.
No, we got you. We could hear you. We just couldn't see you for a minute. But yeah, if we lost Katy for a moment, for me personally, it's going to be at the 1, naturally, Courtney Vandersloot, for all the nostalgia purposes, but the dynamic that she brings to the court for the team as well. At the 2, I think is inevitably going to be Kia Nurse, because of the balance that she strikes. She's a complementary piece on both ends of the court for them. At the 3 is where it gets tricky, because I can see it going Michaela's direction in terms of her starting for the team, but I could also very much see it going to the veteran that is Rebecca Allen. That's where the hairs kind of get split. I don't think there's a wrong answer here, which I think is a positive, because if in the event of injury, or if they want to kind of go with something depending on matchups, if Tyler Marsh feels like one matchup is better for a specific opponent than the other, I don't see an issue in them going with one or the other. And because of that, I'm personally going to stick with Michaela for now, just because of the trigger word that Katy used before she kind of had to go away for a second, and that's continuity purposes. I think that's something you just can't put a value on, and you want to get as much out of the lineups that do have that, even amidst all the changes that you're making. And actually, a majority of the time last season, we saw Michaela as well as Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso in those 3 front court slots. And I want to see Michaela continue to grow in that role. I think that's hers going into the next handful of seasons for this team. So I would like to see her there, and then have your change of pace in Rebecca Allen coming into the fold in a rotation after that. And then naturally you got the Twin Towers and Angel Reese and Kamilla Cardoso in the paint for your starting 5.
I heard most of your starting 5, and I agreed with what I heard. Clearly I can't do shows from home anymore. I need to actually be at the office. But I think we can get out of here while we still have internet connection for me to say goodbye. Thank you to everyone for joining us. I see David, I see Region Rev, I see Faz in the comments. You guys are the best. I appreciate all of you that have been chatting with me in that Diehards Discord as well. If you are not already a diehard, ALLCITY.com, become a diehard. You can read all of Steven's great Sky writing, and then you can also get access to that Discord where you can talk to some of your fellow fans. And Steven, you got anything else before we let the fine folks go?
Just be ready for Sky basketball to be loud and disruptive this season. I think they're going to take on an identity that's similar to last season's, but it's going to be more efficient and maybe more effective because of that, because of the pieces that they have in-house. So stay tuned for that, but be expecting for this Sky team to be potentially in the playoffs next season. I think they're going to be very scrappy, very competitive, and take on the personality of their head coach, not unlike they did last season.
Yeah, I'm ready to see it. We need to get a little closer to that start of the season. I'm sick of watching really bad Bulls basketball. So it is time for the Sky But we will get out of here. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to Steven. Thank you to Joey for producing. And we will talk to you guys soon.
We all silly like the mayor.